Hi, folks. Welcome back to Critico's Corner. Well. Hypocrisy from elected Democrats. What a shock. De Blasio dismisses coronavirus risks during Biden victory celebrations, contrary to CDC guidelines. Comments come 6 months after threatening $500 fines for social distancing violators. If you look on top of the page, look at that beauty. Business run by Jewish single mom, cited for COVID violation while Biden supporters celebrate across the city. This is what your future looks like under the Democrats, folks. Read it and weep. Well, it's not affected me any. They'll get to you eventually. It's just amazing to me. And then you look on the top right as well. D.C. mayor disregarded own COVID restrictions to attend Biden victory speech, defends essential travel. Essential travel to go celebrate a victory. But you can't bury your mother. Can't have a funeral. Can't try to survive in your business. Can't do any of that stuff. Because I said so. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio on Monday appeared to brush off comments that weekend celebrations over Joe Biden's presidential victory contribute to the further spread of the coronavirus. Don't you remember? If you look at somebody, you'll die. Keep everything locked down. Destroy your life, destroy your business. We know better. Because I said so. Don't do as I do, do as I say. This is the future, folks. Take a hard look at it, because this is what it's going to be. This is only the beginning under Democrat elected rule, and even unelected rule for that matter. At the mayor's daily press briefing, oh God, I would love to be a fly on the wall on that one. I'd probably commit suicide before it was over if I was there. A New York Post reporter, the only newspaper in town in New York's got any guts, noted that although many attendees of the celebrations wore masks, many did not abide by social distancing rule guidelines that Blasio had previously urged New Yorkers to follow. Don't you remember? You're going to go to jail, pay $500. They even had an app on your phone so you could snitch on people that were too close together and not wearing masks. Remember that one? As whether his administration was concerned that celebrations would fuel an increase in coronavirus cases, de Blasio said that outdoor gatherings with a mask were less a cause for concern than indoor gatherings without a mask. But you can't have an outside funeral procession for Orthodox Jews. Isn't that interesting? Don't you remember? You come within 2 feet of somebody, grandma's going to die. They had to put the fear of God in everybody, but the election's over. Things are easing up because the election's over. Make no mistake. There was a deadly virus hitting the United States. These draconian measures to lock everybody down in place for months on end are all about the election. Don't let anybody kid you and tell you any different. Sure, it's dangerous. You keep clean, keep your hands clean, don't touch your face, wear a mask, social distance. That was the best way to go. But no, we had to destroy tens of thousands of businesses just in New York City alone. People's lives shattered forever. This is really what we're seeing decisively. Those outdoor gatherings, always something to keep an eye on. Oh, they went from it's going to kill grandma if you look at them to we're going to keep an eye on it. Less than a week after the election. But if people keep a mask on, they're outdoors. We haven't seen too much ill come from that, de Blasio said. Again, we had a Jewish playground, a park, chained up. The Jewish school took the chains off. They came and arrested people for kids playing in a playground outside with masks on. Outside funerals for rabbis, Orthodox Jews. Stymied. People put under arrest and fined. But all of a sudden, in less than a week after the election, it went to people keep a mask on and they're outdoors. We haven't seen too much ill of that, de Blasio said. Isn't that amazing? You people have all been hoodwinked. Increasingly, the concern is more and more people are indoors, fewer and fewer wearing a mask. The more concern is people indoors. You're the genius that locked everything down. You're the genius that made these poor people stay inside against the Constitution, I might add, and against their rights. You didn't have the authority to do that. That's overwhelming where our concern is. You hypocrite. You hypocrite. De Blasio stopped short of addressing the lack of social distancing that was clearly visible at Biden victory celebrations. Over the weekend, countless videos emerged online of people in major cities across the country, including New York City, packed shoulder to shoulder in clear violation of social distancing guidelines. De Blasio shared selfies with other New Yorkers wearing masks, but not socially distanced in the crowd. All of a sudden, it stopped killing grandma tomorrow, less than a week after the election. You people have been scammed. This whole thing was a scam, not the virus itself. That was deadly. But simple precautions and common sense were the way to go. This was about the election. Don't let anyone tell you different. Earlier in the pandemic, de Blasio announced a smartphone app for residents who wanted to report violations of social distance to authorities. Snitch on your neighbor. Geez, that sounds like the old Soviet Union, doesn't it? Remember that one where kids were snitching on their parents? At the time, it was the nation's largest COVID-19 hotspot. He also imposed fines on violators up to $500. And in April, de Blasio announced the NYPD was breaking up the funeral of a Brooklyn rabbi that attracted hundreds outside. Oh, geez, what a shocker this next line is. De Blasio's office has not returned calls by Fox News seeking comment. Wow, what a shocker. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention advises people to use social distancing and limited physical contact, both indoors and outdoors. That's sound advice. Wear your mask when you can. Do the best you can. Keep your hands clean. Don't touch your face. We're not reinventing the wheel here, folks. Guidelines on the website encourage people to maintain a distance at least 6 feet or more from people who don't live in your household. Okay. I run a convenience store at a bottle redemption center. Somebody comes in without a mask, comes up to the redemption table. They dump out their cans. I says, if I'm going to go up to the table, you've got to back off a few feet. And they understand that. And I have a little bowl with Clorox and water in it, sanitizer, and I'm constantly putting my hands in it. Okay. Little common sense, folks. You don't need a PhD or be an MD, to understand. Unbelievable. Particularly careful in areas where it may be harder to keep this distance, such as check-in areas, parking lots, and routes of entry and exit. Of course. You can't jump in front of the guys, can't front and jump a little old lady, open the door for them instead, like normal people used to do. You open the door for the lady and let her in. That used to be manners at one time. Ask money to comment on the apparent double standard. Now, how about hypocrisy? How about to comment on the apparent hypocrisy? De Blasio again appeared to pivot. Ooh, what a shocker. Once he got his WD-40, he can pivot a little easier now. A little looser up. Reiterating his point that not wearing a mask indoors is cause for greater concern. All of a sudden now, the thing is, don't be indoors so much. These people are monsters, I'm telling you. This is what's coming under Democrat rule. You elected these idiots. Think about what you're doing. Just because somebody has an R in front of their name doesn't mean they're a monster. Try it and see. You may be surprised pleasantly. I think everyone needs to be careful all the time, and particularly if these numbers we're reporting today continue to grow, that people are going to have to get used to more and more restrictions and going back to some of the ways we had to live in the spring, de Blasio said. No, you put these draconian measures just to scare the crap out of everybody so you can mail out your ballots. Simple precautions were more than enough. Other city leaders like de Blasio have called for residents to exercise precaution while celebrating. Oh, yeah, make sure when you protest / riot that you keep social distancing. But you know what? You're right. Your right to protest is more important than killing grandma. Precaution while celebrating Biden's victory. On Sunday, District of Columbia D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser encouraged those who voted in the 2020 presidential to get tested for COVID-19. but was quiet on the thousands of Americans participating in celebrations. Quiet on the thousands of Americans participating in celebrations. These people are hypocrites. The argument was not lost on Gabriel Sterling, a Georgia election official who during a Monday press conference took a jab at the double standard among Biden supporters, quipping, "They're ecstatic. They're in the streets partying. I guess COVID's over." No, it's not over, but the draconian measures are, because it worked. It worked. It was a brilliant strategy by the Democrats when this virus hit and started killing people by the thousands. What was that Rahm Emanuel saying? Never let a crisis go to waste. Well, they certainly did it. And they got him. They got the president. Looks like we're going to have a President Biden. All right, fine. You idiots have exposed yourselves for the hypocrites and morons you really are. My advice for the next 2 years, and this is almost a week after the election, November 9th, for the next 2 years, do not vote for anyone with a D in front of their name, whether they're dog catcher all the way through the President of the United States and everything in between, for one simple reason. The vast majority of these Democrats that were elected in office, in power, and all this crap is going on, said nothing. They're just as complicit. Just because you didn't say anything doesn't mean you're not guilty. Your silence is your guilt. And I hope you all get thrown out. And I hope the Democrat Party can rise from the ashes again and become a viable, reasonable party so they can sit down with the opposing party and get things done for the American people. But until the Democrats burn to the ground, that won't happen. Well, there it is, folks. We ought to get the Project Veritas has a wall of shame. We ought to get the Hall of Hypocrites. We ought to try that. That would be a good one. He has the wall of shame. Let's put together a Hall of Hypocrites. And de Blasio would be right up in front. Well, folks, that's the way it is today. And until next time, goodbye and good luck.